and be comfortable. Good afternoon. I decided to cut short my visit to the Russian Federation due to the recent developments in Mindanao. Shortly before going back to the Philippines, I met with President Vladimir Putin in Moscow after official plans were changed to facilitate our meeting. I express appreciation for the warm welcome, hospitality extended to me and my delegation after their flexibility and understanding to reschedule our meeting. Russia is a true friend. While I have to immediately return to the Philippines, I have instructed the Secretary of Foreign Affairs to remain and meet with Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov to discuss how to strengthen bilateral relations and to sign some agreements that have been already concluded. Also behind are the secretaries of relevant economic agencies to pursue arrangements that can best advance our shared interest to increase economic cooperation and enhance culture and people exchanges. We look forward to strengthening political and security relations with Russia and to building security cooperation framework attuned to the responsive of the present needs and challenges. The emergence of new forms of terrorism and the existence of non-traditional security threats reinforce the need to broaden and widen our network of friends and allies to strengthen our security cooperation. While we seek to enhance regional and global collaboration in pursuing our common desire to attain peace and stability, there is a pressing need to directly confront and manage our national security. The series of terrorist acts committed by the Maote group resulted to the loss of lives of our citizens, including policemen and soldiers, and the destructive nature of their fight, thereby destroying properties and displacement of innocent civilians. The issuance of September 2016 of Proclamation number 55 series of 2016 declaring state of national emergency provided our law enforcement and security forces an enhanced expanded mandate to perform their responsibilities. We are still in the state of emergency. Sporadic skirmishes with the Maote group continues, showing the group's capability to sow terror and unleash harassment and inflict destruction not only in Lanao, Luzon, but also in other parts of Mindanao and even in the Visayas. Last May, the same Maote terrorist group has taken over a hospital in Marawi City, Lanao del Sur, established checkpoints within the city, burned down certain government facilities, and inflicted casualties on the part of government forces, and started flying the flag of the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, otherwise known as ISIS, thereby removing from the allegiance to the Philippine government this part of Mindanao and deprive the chief executive of his powers and prerogatives to enforce the laws of the land, and to maintain public order and safety in Mindanao, thereby constituting the crime of rebellion. By virtue of the powers vested in me by the Constitution and by law, I had to declare martial law in the Mindanao group of violence for a period that exceeding 60 days, effective as of May 23, 2017. The privilege of the writ of habeas corpus is likewise suspended in the opposite area for the duration of martial law. Government may consider the covered areas of martial law in the event that members of the Maute Group and other ISIS-affiliated terrorists seek sanctuary or expand their terroristic activities in the Visayas and Mindanao. In all decisions and actions, let me assure you that primordial concern is the safety and welfare of our people. It is our constitutional mandate to enforce the law and provide security. It is our constitutional duty to ensure that every family, every community, all Filipinos are assured to live in peace and harmony. We will stay true to our mandate and duty. This I can assure everyone. Thank you and good afternoon, and I am ready to answer the questions from media.
Janeline Kabiling of the Manila Bulletin.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. Sir, may we know why you decided to declare martial law in the entire Mindanao, not just Marawi City? Has the government monitored any threats of ISIS in other parts of the country?
There should be no singularization of this mandate. You know, there was the siege in Mindanao, resulting in the destructions of lives and properties. There have been a series of bombings and all terroristic activities of every kind, every criminal acts committed in the southern part of our country. Remember that Davao City was also a victim of a bombing several months ago. All of these and other things, government decided to just remain tolerant, not oblivious to the terrorist act, but there has been suggestion in the past that they declare martial law. And even some senators, which I cannot mention now, urged me to do it. But I said that there has to be a very compelling reason to do it. And what is that compelling reason? You must remember that earlier, and even in the my first command conference, and the military and the police, alam nila. Sabi ko, I made a projection, not a prediction, that one of these days, the hardest thing to deal with will be the arrival of ISIS in our country. And it has come to pass that there is really war going on and street fighting in Marawi itself. I do not know how many buildings were destroyed. Pero yung chief of police ng Malabang, he was in Marawi City. Pag-uwi niya, going back home, he was stopped by a checkpoint that was manned by the terrorists. And I think they were decapitated right there and then. These things government cannot allow. It is an open defiance and the violence, the atrocities continue. Government must put an end to this. I cannot gamble with ISIS because they are everywhere. and you know what is happening, or you must be very aware of what happened in the Middle East. I was asked during the debates in LaSalle, but unfortunately I was the only candidate who showed up, and I was asked what would be my response to terrorism. And I said I would be harsh, and harsh in enforcing the law. Just a few days ago, and in the past months, I have always said, do not force my hand into it. Because if I start to declare martial law, I will solve all the problems of Mindanao connected with law and order. As President, if I cannot confront them, I will resign. If I am incompetent and incapable of keeping order in this country, let me step down and give the job to somebody else. But I will deal with the problem as it is. Most of you were witnesses many years ago when President Marcos declared martial law. It will be solely between the Commander-in-Chief and the Armed Forces and the Police. But I will assure you that I am not willing to allow abuses. Government is still running, Congress is functioning, the courts are open for citizens to seek their grievance, but in keeping with the law and order, it behooves now on the military, the armed forces, to do what is expected of them. Restore order. And that martial law covers the area of the whole of the entire Pulo, Basilan, and Tawi-Tawi. I am appealing to the humanity of everybody, especially those who saw terror. Do not allow the ISIS to come in. I warn you again, do not do it, because, as I have said, my response would be harsh. I will not hesitate to do anything and everything to protect and preserve the Filipino nation.
Sir, what are the rules of engagements of the military? Will there be more troop deployment, airstrikes, curfew during martial law?
It is normal. It is just an augmentation. Ordinarily, the law and order situation is addressed by the police. But once it gets out of hand, out of control, and here comes a foreign ideology that is being imposed on the people, I will not allow it. I will not allow the country to go to the dogs. As I said, the military has the primary role now of keeping the law and order situation and in all parts of the Republic of the Philippines. I may decide to expand the area to include the Visayas because it is just a walking distance actually, and because of the many islands, they can always escape there and begin another terroristic activity. I have ordered the military, especially the Navy, to embargo the islands, especially the sea that separates Mindanao from the Visayas. I am just awaiting for the hard facts. I'll be meeting to the cabinet. I'll be briefed by all the commander of the area. I might also decide to suspend the writ of habeas corpus in the Visayas. Remember that this is not intended for the law-abiding citizen. We are the least of your worry. But if you confront government, and my orders are, one, to enforce the law, and anyone caught possessing a gun and confronting us with violence, my orders are shoot to kill. I will not hesitate to do it. Human rights is different. It is an institutional theory which we will preserve and observe. I said I will not allow abuses. The courts are open. But anyone now holding a gun, confronting government with violence, my orders are spare no one. Let us solve the problem of Mindanao once and for all. Kaya ako sinasabi nung paalis na ako in the past, do not force my hand into it, because I will solve all the problems that ails Mindanao. It would take me maybe 60 days, 15 days, but you can be very sure that the response of government will be not only equal but commensurate to the resistance of the law. Checkpoints will be allowed, searches will be allowed, arrest without a warrant will be allowed in Mindanao. And I do not need to secure any search warrant or a warrant of arrest. If you are identified positively on the other side, you can be arrested and detained. All. But if the things goes out of hand, actually if there is a severe fighting, I will allow the Mindanaoans, Moros and Christians alike, if you are in a possession of a gun licensed by government, and in order to give you security and protect your family, you can bring it out. Just show your ID or your license, especially your license. I said, pagka nagpatayan na pati civilian, I will allow the civilians to carry their guns outside of the residence. But be sure that it is licensed in your name, and do not falsify anything, because you will also be detained and investigated. How many days? I really do not know. There's a law which says that after 3 days. You know, I've always maintained that my duty, my sacred duty to preserve and defend the Filipino does not emanate from any constitutional restriction. It is in my oath of office. I beg to disagree with anyone. In this oath of office, which I promise to God and to the people, that I will protect and defend the country. And dito ako. If I think that you should die, you will die. If you fight us, you will die. If there's an open defiance, you will die. And if it means many people dying, so be it. Ganon talaga. Sinabi ko na sa inyo, do not force my hand. But we are not new in what is the nature of martial law in the Philippines. I said I will not declare curfew, but maybe in certain areas. Lanao del Sur, Lanao del Norte, Maguindanao, Sultan Kudarat, North Cotabato, and maybe in Zamboanga. To protect the civilians altogether, after the meeting with the cabinet in a few hours, I will issue the corresponding orders to respond to the challenges of providing security for the people. Kayo namang walang mga kasalanan at wala kayong gawin sa gabi. There is no connection of energy doon patay. And maybe they will try, I'm just anticipating, to blow up the towers that carries the energy towards Mindanao. And I said, do not do it, because anyone holding a gun, I will issue the necessary orders in providing for the civilians to carry their guns, but not now. And of these places, there will be curfew to enforce by the police and the military.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Ina Andolong from CNN Philippines. Sir, before you left Russia, you gave an interview and you said that the martial law declaration will not be any different from the martial law declared by former President Marcos. How so, sir, considering that that martial law was hounded by allegations of torture and abuse?
Martial law of Mr. Marcos was very good. It was intended really, as far as I can concern, I know, and I'm concerned, I would say that the only importation of firearms outside of the country ever to happen was the Karagatan. All others were locally generated. Lahat yung halos karamihan, either ipagbili ng may hawak ng baril, prenda, ganon. And for those military offenders, you will have a summary hearing of a martial court. Military, they will be subjected to military laws. And I said, I warn everybody is everybody. The members of the military, police, and everyone, do not try to challenge government. No abuses of any kind. The courts are open. You can always go to the court. But in Mindanao, the remedy of habeas corpus is not available for you. And I will detain you, they said 36 hours. That is only when everything is smooth and you are only dealing with criminals and wrongdoers. I have a serious problem in Mindanao, and the ISIS has taken, the footprints are everywhere. And there are many foreigners and Caucasians looking. So they want to establish something there. But at the end of the day, I will say that I am not surprised why Lanao del Sur is also maybe in cahoots or cooperating. Lanao del Sur is the poorest province in the Philippines. So in the next few months, the more available money will be used to introduce improvement of the place of every kind. We will rebuild the schools, provide livelihood, because I said poverty, or Mindanao has the highest incidence of poverty. So I am not surprised, and even the NPAs. So we have resumed the talks now. Last time was Doresa calling me, but I said I will not sign anything if there is fighting. I do not want to pick a fight with you guys, and I am referring to the NPAs. Allow me to focus the problems sa Mindanao, and maybe the spillover in the Visayas and in Luzon. If I think that the ISIS has already taken foothold also in Luzon, and terrorism is not really far behind, I might declare martial law throughout the country to protect the people.
Sir, do you think 60 days is enough, or are you looking at the possibility of going beyond 60 days?
Well, if it is not enough, I have told the Senate President who was with me, who was with my entourage in Moscow, just only too bad that I had to abbreviate my trip because of what happened. We would have needed the services of everybody. And let me also remind in passing that last minute when we received the news about the Philippines, I decided to abort everything and come home. I told the security guys of Russia that if there's any chance that I can just talk to President Putin, even for 15 minutes, just to say hello and goodbye, and thank him for the splendid warm welcome. But he was in another region of Russia. You know, Russia is here it's so huge and vast. Ibang parte ng Russia is in Asia. And the other end, westward, is Europe. So it expands, the expanse is really very. But he decided last minute to fly, I don't know from where. And I was just asking for 10 minutes. We had about an hour and a half. We discussed everything, economic, security, assistance. And I said, I come here not really to ask for anything, but I ask that we be friends and allow me to do trade and commerce via your country in the eastern side of Europe. I am not in a position to divulge anything. Let me just use the word very productive. With me was the Secretary of Foreign Affairs and the Defense Secretary. And it was good. And I am both today happy that President Putin was very accommodating, as a matter of fact, very liberal. But I'm also sad because our countrymen are suffering in Mindanao right now.
Last from my end, sir. How confident are you with our intel capabilities? Do you think there was a failure of intelligence with what happened in Marawi? Because I believe Secretary Lorenzana said yesterday that there was an apparent lack of appreciation in the
the freedom of expression is not an exclusive thing for the Christians and other religions. Marami na silang pumunta dito, especially in the guise of being a member of the Tabligh. Tabligh is an organization that would be similar to what the Catholics would call the Knights of Columbus. And if they had been in and out of the country without really bringing anything that is prohibited, contraband or drugs, we do not have the power to just confront them and drive them away. If it is a religious connected activity, we cannot just. There is freedom of expression and freedom to worship your own religion. It is guaranteed in the Constitution. And it is not an exclusive right for Christians and others religion. It applies to all the Filipino nation because we follow democracy. Andito na yan sila noon. Some of them are Arabs. Look, well, I don't know, and we never ask. They were all around. including the Caucasian-looking guys. But in recent encounters, we have killed a lot of them. And government is very strong. We just don't want anything that could react to a flick of a finger. But I am sure that we can overcome them in due time. Kaya pakiusap ko naman sa mga kababayan ko, mga kadugo ko na Moro. I said, I do not want to fight you. I do not want a quarrel with the Moro people. And the talks between the MI and the MN and the others will continue. They will continue with the talks. Miswari is out, enjoying his freedom outside. And if Maria Season will come home, I will allow him. And he can have also his freedom. Maria Season is old, is sick, and he deserves to be where he belongs, considering the imponderables of life. Lahat naman tayo, we go sometime. And it is a terrible thing, I said, to die in another country. So all those NPAs, and in the meantime, if there is a cessation of hostilities, you can go anywhere. But my orders to the armed forces and to the police, they cannot be denied, or government cannot deny access to any barangay in any part of the Philippines. Nobody claims their territory, including the Communist Party. Sabi na this is a controlled, no such thing. Every inch of this republic is owned by the people of the Philippines. Government. Kaya kayong sa mga NPA, those in the bundok, you can come down and have dinner with me in my house as long as we stop fighting. But, you know, this is a 50-year war. Mag-50 years now. That's why I was posing a question to them. What do you want? Another 50 years of fighting? I do not want it. I loathe it. I hate it. I hate killing Filipinos. But do not give me no option. Because we are prepared, government is to wage war for another 50 years. Or at least during my term. I will not allow government to be playing a secondary role. Nothing of this sort. And I will not allow it. And if I have to enforce the law, ang target ko kasing isa yung droga. As I have said before, nobody was listening, and the skeptics and the hypocrites itong human rights. Itong droga na ito is being produced in numbers. And every time we make raids, tangkidigera tawag nila sa atin, our tanks and everything are put to use because they are well defended with machine guns and everything. I have lost more than 200 soldiers and personnel. If you count the previous atrocities, including the Zamboanga siege, marami na akong patay na sundalo pati pulis. This has to stop. This has to stop. So everyone, let go of your firearms. It could be a pistol, revolver, or it could be a rifle, or because you will die. My orders are really to shoot. And for the police, I was outside when this happened. There was also kidnapping by the police. My order was 2 million apiece, dead or alive. Saan ninyo, sabihin nyo, human rights you're listening. Sabi Duterte, andito na naman siya. Saan yung natutunan niyang dead or alive? Reward, dead or alive? Sa Amerikano. Sa mga sine, si Clint Eastwood, si Gary Cooper, tapos si Jesse James, Billy the Kid. Reward, dead or alive. So what's wrong in copying a good method of attaining peace? All you have to do is follow the Americans. Kayo nag-invento niyang reward, dead or alive, 2 million for the neck, for the head of those policemen. Putang ina kayo, talagang papatayin ko. Tignan. Let's say kayo. Sinabi ko nga kayong sa gobyerno, kayo ang mamaunang mamatay. Do not with me because you are adding trouble to the country. It will never be the same. Mindanao will never be the same after this. If I need another 60 days, I'll go to the Senate President and explain to him. He's from Mindanao. He's here, Senator Pimentel, the Senate President. And I've invited them to go to Davao and to listen to the briefing so that I can issue the order. As to ASO, I don't know if it is declared illegal or not. But it is the practice. I made a research. Martial law includes arrests without warrant, search without warrant. So if the ASO will be implemented by the armed forces and the police. I had so many in mind, but skeptical ako. It is dito na lang tayo sa present setup. The Defense Department under General Simato and the Chief of Staff. Anyo is supposed to retire next week. What I said, it's not good to be changing horses midstream. He is extended in his tour of duty for another 6 months. And after that, we will review. But he's supposed to take over DILG. Kasi may problema rin talaga tayo sa DILG. Especially the police. Pagka inutilita, not all. Few scalawags in between. But because of the lure of money, ang sindikato dito may galing sa CIDG, may galing sa Highway Patrol, may galing doon sa istasyon. May kanya-kanya silang sindikato, ang police dito, totoo. But Manila lang. Outside of Manila, Cebu is a hotbed of drugs. I think it was the floodgate of the drugs being produced. Ang terorista sa Mindanao has gone into production of shabu. And most of the fighters, even the young ones in Holo, when they fight the government security forces, most of the time lango sila. So they're suffering casualties. Kaya itong drugs talaga, pati ang pulis na nagkikidnap. My surprise really was he was involved in that Korean kidnapping na namatay. He was assigned somewhere in Rizal, Taguig, I don't know. But he returned to his mother unit. I was still working the day he was captured for the recent kidnapping of a wife of an inmate in Montegroma. Talagang gusto talaga nito kamatayan. Putang ina, ibigay ko talaga sa inyo, tignan. Your head is worth 2 million. I do not care if you bring his cadaver in front of me, I'll pay you without question. If he is alive in front of me, come back for another reason. Wow, saan ko ilagay ang mga putang inang yan? You know, the drug company, the drug activity still is being managed by people inside the penitentiary sa Bilibid. Ginawa ng lahat ng gobyerno, SAP, I don't know, baka gusto nilang subukan ang Marine. But lahat ng transaction, even in the Davao Penal Colony, doon ang mga tawag. May alam nito mga ulol na alam natin. And for that matter also, I would like to thank the United States government for helping us on the technical side. I do not deny the contribution of the United States. But because you make it hard for us to acquire on the reason that we are human rights violator, so I will advise the United States, do not come here because you are in the land of, sabi ninyo, violator of human rights. If you want to decide to protect the human rights of everybody, go to some other places. We will take care of the problem. Do not threaten us with imprisonment. Hindi ako bugok. I am a lawyer and I know where I should be. But if perchance I go to prison, I'd be happy. As long as I do it for the Filipino people, I will be happy to go to jail. And to die, and to lose the presidency. So don't fuck with me about ICC. Demanda ninyo, you come here. You do not even consult. Yung si, yung gaga na yun. And I would like to put to task publicly this Reyes. You know, 5 years ago, Santiago, who was the PDEA chief, gave us a figure of 3 million. Ang binigay ni Reyes sa chairman sa Dangerous Board, yung accomplishment ni Bato ng PNP, that's 1.8. Ang dala ng babae was 1.8. When I have been telling everybody everything that is about 4 million drug addicts. And here comes a chairman, you are fired today. Get out of the service. You do not contradict your own government. If you are there, you are not, you're just a civilian member of the board. You are not the implementer of the law. The correct count is the police and the PDEA. Ibigay mo lang 1.8, dala-dala nung nag-announce doon sa, there is too much interference with the advent of human rights. Lahat ng gobyerno pinapakialaman ninyo. That is why we have kept a distance, because you want to cancel the 23,000 rifles which we need for the police. Okay. Ang EU, magbigay ng 200 million euros, maraming kondisyones, human rights, blah, 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 blah. Anong klaseng grant yan? And you know what? It's not my idea. Sonny Dominguez said, I did not accept it because that would give them a reason to interfere, which is correct. Alam mo yung Amerika magbigay, but including the go-around, banning the story about allowing a country to pass a law to allow same-sex marriage. Ano kung hindi tarantado? Ano mo, putang ina, katoliko itong... Tapos itong mga State Department, marang ulol. If you are an atheist or a... What's the other word for that? Prognostic? You're destroying America little by little. And one set of values of Obama and another set of rules, sabi ni Trump, you are doing it right. Itong si Obama, you're doing it wrong. So saan ako susunod sa inyong... So if you cannot agree with each other, I would rather go to Russia, who is a very courteous leader, but very hardliner. Kanya talaga is the security of the state, period. No questions asked, and that is good. And in Mindanao, it will happen. May curfew sa dalawang Lanao, Maguindanao, Sultan Kudarat, maybe not Maguindanao, Kulo, Basilan, down to Tawi-Tawi. The military will enforce it. And if you violate the law when there is a curfew restriction, it is your choice to die. Putang ina, problema ninyo yan. When there is a curfew, it is intended to benefit everybody. So you will not fall victim to any misinformation, misapprehension, miscalculation. And we have the two Moro cabinet members, Secretary Alonto and Secretary Mamao, told them to go to home because I was talking with the general. If I could go tomorrow, so there is still fighting. If you go there, the troops will be focusing on your security at makalimutan na yung problema. So sabi nila, huwag ka munang pumunta. Itong dalawa, Maranao rin to. Sabi, umuwi na kayo doon at pakiusapan. I said, I do not want to quarrel with anybody. I do not want to quarrel with my cousins in Lanao. That's far, but do not be in that group. Magpatayan lang tayo. Get out from harm's way. I have a question?
Mr. President, we have one last question from Raymond Tinasaw, Bombo Radio.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. Sir, may we know when we will see the hard copy of the document, and will you be personally appearing to Congress to report the declaration
Yes,
of martial
no,
law?
in writing. In writing. Hindi na ako pupunta doon because I can do it in writing. I have to go home. Remember, 48 hours. So, ang dokumento, ang problema, naiwan sa hotel doon sa yung proclamation na pinirmahan ko, naiwan doon sa hotel. So, balikan pa namin yun din. Yeah, it's there. It's there. You go to the Defense Secretary. Nakakatawa to eh. It was really funny. Ito yung proclamation. Anong numero ito? Ewan ko. Basta may perma ako declaring martial law. Look at what is really the irony of life. So I signed it. And it said, done in the Russian Federation. This is the place I was there. So I cannot, done in the city of Manila, Philippines. Nandun ako. But declaring martial law, tinawagan ko muna si Guevara, si Secretary Guevara. Sabi ko, i-announce mo na. Kaya napirmahan ko na. But done in the Russian Federation this 23rd day of May in the year of our Lord 2007. I have to go to Japan. That plane is very expensive. I look for another cheaper way of going there. Napuno na. But this will be my last. I won't travel anymore after this. Pagod na talaga ako. I said, tagal na ako. But the last is Japan. And if I sign anything there for the execution of somebody, I will say, done in Japan this 7th day of June. We do not want violence. The purpose there is to maintain law and order. I'm sure the military hate and the police hate killing their own countrymen. Ibang istorya ito siguro pag gano'n. If the chief of staff is here, General Anyo. Ikaw, sir, yung implementor. You get your orders from the civilian authority, Roy Simato. But ikaw ho ang mag-implement para wala ng question about civilian because you will be reporting to civilian officials. In the higher echelons of the authority, it must emanate from a civilian. So, General Simato has been Chief of Staff. He was our ambassador in the Middle East crisis, transporting back Filipinos. There is no need at this time. But pagka ganon, ikaw pa rin ang utusan ko kasi ikaw may alam dyan sa saan yung mga magagandang Arabo. I'm sure you have toured the country. Any more?
Sir, sir, what could be, aside from the curfew in the 3 or 4 provinces in Lanao, what could be the first order of the day, especially on the ground, that there are reports of some priests or church workers being held hostage by this Maute terror group?
Well, we will try to save as many as we can or taking hostages now. That's why Secretary Alonto and Secretary Mamao, Brad ko yan siya, sabi ko, pumunta ka doon at try to talk sense to them. And I'm willing to go there to talk. Make no mistake about it. I'm willing to go to Marawi anytime. When you say that you want to talk about peace, lay down the arms, and I will go there and talk to them. The 3 of us. Puro man tayo Maranao, di makaintindihan tayo. So, ito yung actually it's my own my grandmother. Any question?
That's all.
Additional one?
That's all, Mr. President. Thank
Yung
you so
iba.
much.
Yun sila pala.
One more?
Member ko kayo ng
One more.
media. Siya muna kayo ang tinuro ko. Yan.
Maricel Halili of TV5.
Tapos yung sunod nagatago-tago dyan sa behind the guy. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon. Sir, I just would like to elaborate on your meeting with President Putin. What else did you talk about aside from trade and economy during your 1-hour meeting? Did you ask the President for his support to fight ISIS? And what was his response?
Actually, was holding the stick, parang class card. And it was Secretary Lorenzana and Senator Cayetano and my aide Bongo. Binigay niya lahat. Binigay niya lahat. An invitation for Filipinos to go there study medicine. They have told me last night that they have tremendously improved the study about the immune system, how it works and everything. I forgot the other term that he used, but I distinctly heard immune system.
But how about, sir, the problem of terrorism in the country? Did you discuss
They are
about-
also ready. I said everything. And I said, I need the firearms. I'm not asking for it. I am, if you can give me a soft loan, payable in so many years, because I said, I am a poor country, said, well. And he was pointing to Senate Secretary Lorenzana, and he said, oh, where's your list? Where's your list? He did it 3 times. Saan yung listahan ninyo? So I'm very happy. It is an indication that he has, he never said no. He said yes to all the proposed agenda sa bilateral. Wala naman panahon. Because I had to go to yung mga parliamentarians nila. Then I had to talk to Medvedev, the premier. But because it was so sudden, sabi ko 10 minutes lang para magpasalamat ako. But it lingered on for about 1 hour and 30 minutes. and we exchanged ideas about terrorism, economics, and everything. And to all of us, I said, yes. Said, I will pay for it. I'm not asking for anything. Just give us time to, we are a poor country. Out of our savings, we will pay you.
And may we know,
Sabi niya, okay.
sir, may we know how much will be the soft loan for the...
I really don't know. So, the wherewithal maybe is with the Cayetano, Secretary of the Foreign Affairs. He's there, left behind, and the Secretary of DTI. I think we're good at this time. I am not abandoning the RPU is back. But that does not no longer needed to meet the challenges. In the first place, in case the Philippines is attacked, it's from the outside. Never mention about an internal strife that could implode from the within our own country to not explode, but it will implode in our territory.
Okay, thank you, sir.
He is very sympathetic, and by the way, he conveyed his condolences, his grief for those who have died. Yung chief of police ng Malabang, he happened to be in Marawi. Pag-uwi niya, may checkpoint ang ISIS, said was cut off. And I think many others. So that's how it is. It's brutality, cruelty. And if you want an example, just remember the Abu Sayyaf, how many guys that they have decapitated there. And the bombings of Davao. Do not forget that 15 died while just eating outside the stores there. And the Zamboanga siege. And far between the years, maraming explosions na. All places, Butuan, Cagayan, that is an open defiance. If you raise the flag of ISIS, that was the time I said, this cannot be done. It has to be stopped. And I'm willing to gamble with Marcelo. And I will put a stop to it. And I think everything that ails Mindanao. Remember that we are from Mindanao and we suffered the bombing about last year. Many died while just eating in the public square. Siya. Nauna man siya, ma'am, tapos ikaw. Siya, ang kita mo.
Hi, sir. Sir, I'm Pia Gutierrez from ABS-CBN. Sir, tatanong ko lang kung sino po yung itatalaga ninyong administrator ng martial law.
The chief of staff is there. I presented him as our probable next. He was supposed to take his oath of office this week as DILG chief. Retired na siya. But I said, I do not want to change horses midstream. I have extended his tour of duty to another 6 months.
6 months. So, in the meantime, sir, sino po ang magiging OIC ng DILG, sir?
Again?
Sino, sir, yung hahawak sa DILG, sir?
Ang mahawak ng...
Sa DILG, sir. DILG. Now that you have extended the tour of duty of General Ano.
Where is General Coy? Another general.
Okay. Sir, nabanggit nyo rin po yung posibilidad na ideklara nyo ang martial law sa buong Pilipinas. Ano po yung magiging batayan ninyo, sir, kapag umabot po sa punto na iisipin ninyo na posibleng buong bansa na ang pagdedeklara ng martial law, sir?
Look, I am not a all-knowing president. It was the police and the military which says that we have reached dangerous level. Martial law will end after the police and the military will tell me that everything is stabilized. So maybe from another 60 days, I will ask, give me enough time to stabilize and to solve the allied problems so can we have a peaceful, we can move on. Otherwise, this remaining term of man, 5 years plus, if I survive, it would have been remembered as an administration that did nothing in face of violence and wala gawa. Ako ayaw, sambuang kasi na, I will not accept that kind of shit. I said, I do not have a quarrel with the Moro people. I am with you. There will be no abuses, none at all. Everything in government functions. But in Mindanao, it is different because I said, they forced my hand into it. At sabi ko, I hate doing it. But if I have to, I will. Ito na ngayon.
Sir, last na lang po. Can you walk us through, sir, yung process po ninyo ng pag-decide na kailangan nang ideklara ang martial law, sir, sa Mindanao? Ano po yung, sino po yung una ninyong kinausap? Ano po yung mga naging konsiderasyon ninyo?
Again, hindi ko makuha yung...
Sir, can you walk us through dun sa naging process po ninyo in deciding to declare martial law in Mindanao, sir? Sino po, ano po yung una niyong ginawa? Sino po yung mga kinausap po ninyo?
I get my facts from the military and the police. Where else? It's connected with law and order. Primarily, martial law is to prevent the disruption of law and order in every...
Thank you, sir.
I travel 10 hours. My hearing, every time there's a...
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Celerina Monte from the Daily Manila Shimbun Japanese newspaper. Sir, with your declaration of martial law in Mindanao, how do you see this affecting our economy? Because there are some investors who raised concerns regarding this declaration.
That is why I said we must be fast and restore normalcy. If it can be done 1 week, I'd be very happy. But if it would take me until the end of my term to see that Mindanao is safe for everybody, I will do it.
Sir, you have mentioned that you will push through with your trip.
Of course, I have to ask Congress every time 60 days expires. Again?
Sir, you have mentioned that you will push through with your trip to Japan on June 5 and 6. May we know what you're going to discuss with the Prime Minister during your meeting with him?
Well, it's always money, trade and commerce. I'm not asking for anything, lalo na pera. If they want to help, there are so many, they can finance it and we can pay, or they can operate it. If it's a toll or something else that that's being used by the riding public, we can have an arrangement that can be acceptable to everybody.
That's all. Thank you.
Again, I would like to thank the Russian government, President Putin, for the splendid welcome and their desire to help. And I had to disrupt. Putin was somewhere else in the region of, and when he heard that I was in a hurry, he said that he would be flying in from somewhere, and we were able to discuss the matter. So we started at about 11, we finished about 2. We had a lot of things in common.
Thank you so much, Mr. President.
Salamat po.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the Philippines, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte.
Para sa pagbabago, sawa na ang ayong ko. madilim na kahapon